Good morning, it's Matt and welcome to today's RC Coffee Chat. Now those of you which are on the live version, if you could let me know if you can hear me nice and loud and clearly, that would be amazing please, because it just kind of screwed up here in the background. YouTube have changed a few things, so I'd appreciate that, so happy days. Right, let's get into today's topic because I'm kind of assuming everything's working. Topic number one is gonna be PayPal, and yes, we are having a blue day today for it. PayPal is going to be our number one topic this morning. HobbyKing is getting a bashing from more than one places. Topic number three is a fart and a hunter. I couldn't really write that in the title, so we're sharing the proper one with you right now. iNav 1.8 updates we'll be covering too. We have the modded Magnum reloaded. We'll have a quick nose at that one. And the Runcam fried rice kind of failed. And we'll also be discussing the and thank you for Loud and Cloud, just seen that come up in the chat. Thank you, gents and ladies. Is that last topic is t-shirts as well. So we have 8 or so topics to discuss this morning. Right, so let me just go and change the screen so we go back to like a normal one. And the first thing which we're going to be discussing is PayPal. Okay, and I feel that's really important for us to be discussing this because sometimes some companies can be less than perfect and mistakes happen. Couriers are involved as well. It doesn't matter if it's buying from abroad or even locally. Is that PayPal, generally speaking, is a lot easier to work with, especially if things were to go wrong. They have a clearly defined resolution process. It doesn't require you to get on the phone and give your bank a bollocking. Instead, you can just fill out a web form, put in some details, and generally speaking, most things turn up in your favour. Okay, now, why is this a topic this morning? In short, so I'm going to skip on. We're going to get to the HobbyKing and whinge in a moment. There's an email here, and this is from HobbyKing, as you can see up here. HobbyKing supports, it's Zendesk, whatever. I just realised the wrong amount was indeed requested for your refund, and you are correct. No fucking shit, Sherlock. Included shipping for this particular case. No, it's no particular case. The item was returned, and underneath the distance selling regulations, I'm entitled to a full refund and not to give you a fucking reason at all. And no issue, no apologies for swearing. I just feel their support was shockingly bad, and they're going to get the brunt of it this morning. So we'll get onto some cheerier topics in there. The reference process, but it's held by a system while you have a PayPal dispute open, simply to avoid any double refunds from going through, obviously. If you close the dispute, your refund will finish processing in our system, and you will receive within 20 to 48 hours. Okay, right. One thing which you should never, ever do is close the dispute on their word or the third party's word that they will give you a full refund. Always, and I mean always, leave the dispute open. And the reason why you should always leave the dispute open is because then it is in PayPal's hands and in your hands, and not somebody else's, the third party. Okay, despite irrelevant if you have trust with that party or not, is that you do not close the dispute. You always leave the dispute open. There is absolutely no chance of them double refunding you. That is BS. Okay, it's not possible, and that's coming from somebody who has about 10 years marketplace experience, including PayPal. In that, it's not possible to do it. So that is absolute BS. So the PayPal dispute is going to stay open and never ever close them. And because the second you close it, you cannot reopen it. Okay, you get yourself into a sticky position. So I will be leaving my dispute open, and that's the reason why I wanted to cover PayPal with you this morning, because sometimes, and again, you've seen how much stuff I buy. it's bound to be expected. You're going to run into an issue from time to time, and it is kind of like your last case resort. Normally customer support is far superior than what I've personally been experiencing with HobbyKing, and there's normally never an issue. However, sometimes it happens, and that's why I'm an advocate of PayPal, and that's why we're having this discussion here this morning, because if things do go Pete Tong, you can get in contact with PayPal and they'll help you out. And also remember, you can pick up the phone to PayPal as well, and you would be quite surprised what happens when you do that. It also quite handy that someone might have a PayPal account manager, which are rarer than rocking horse poop at the moment, but you can ring them up and get a decent result out of them as well. Yes, and Steve W, you can see on the top there, yes. In fact, let me go back to the full screen so I can actually read your comments on the screen at the same time. Thank you for thank you for letting me know that the chat's loud and clear. Sitcro, so yeah, I was surprised how well PayPal disputes works. Yeah, it's really straightforward, and I know both sides of the table here. I know what the other side of the table is as a trader, for example, and some customers will take the piss with PayPal. Okay, generally speaking, eBay customers, okay, because we all know that they're particularly special. But that side is that there'll always be somebody who takes the piss. There will be something who will steal from you, etc., etc. But come back to them, most people are generally good, and this is why I'm sharing it with you, because this is like your last resort. You can put stuff into dispute, and you should never ever close it, no matter what the other company says, is because if you close it, you've got no chance of reopening it. Cool. Yes, and you're absolutely right. That is a bit naughty. Hence why HobbyKing is not in Matt's good books at the moment. Which actually brings us on to the next topic, which is there's a link to this in the video description. I'll get this up on the screen so you can see what I'm chatting about. Nick picked up that there was some negative comments about HobbyKing, especially, and again, I've got to put my hand up. I was pretty pissed yesterday, to say the least. I think they're frankly taking a piss, and I'm currently £12 out of pocket because they have an incompetent order processing process, in short. So I'm sure we've spoken about that before. Anyway, yeah. So there's a really curious thread in there. There's a real nice. I actually think it's a nice thread. There's like 44 something comments in there now, and it's quite a balanced thread with a whole mixture of experiences. One thread which has actually appeared in there is that, by the looks of it, since HobbyKing have moved their customer support to the US, it's exponentially improved. However, that's not something which I've personally been and received myself, which is a bit on the downside. Like, pick out like the worst one to do. Somebody you might stick it on YouTube, but on a positive side, there was some good things in there. So it's a very interesting thread to read, to say the least. There's positive comments, there's negative comments, and there's on the hedge comments in there. So if you've not been seeing that already, do go and take a look at that. I've put a link to that in the video description for you. Okay. Who's the guy who sounds like a HobbyKing rep? I don't know. I don't have any HobbyKing staff which are in the group. So anyway, that was topic number 2, which I wanted to cover. Topic number 3 is a fart and a hunter. What am I talking about? We had the unboxing of the ZOHD dart, which I've got here, and she is here all set up. Tell you what, let me go and put this on the full screen. There she is. She's absolutely diddy. Tiny little thing. It's going to be a right schizo model. Really looking forward to flying this one. Like I said, I've got this one ready for flying now. So, like I said, what I've been and done is put some tape down here to hold the wings on. So there's tape going all the way down the fuselage. On the underside, I've done the same as well, but I've put some glass fiber tape on the bottom, mainly because we've got crap weather. It's winter here coming, so rather than getting a brown bottom model, I've put some tape on it so I can peel it off and put some fresh on later if I want to. What else did I notice? Oh, I've put some tape on the leading edges as well. And the other thing, it was a super quick build, to say the least. Then there's the inside. All I've done is jam a receiver in there, and I've got the video transmitter up underneath the lid, which I'm holding down. That's not coming out very well. believe it or not. There you go. There is a little cable tie on there. Ah, there you go. You can see it now. There's a little cable tie just holding that on. What's holding the fins on? Magnets, in short. Then you can see that there and a hole in that. They're actually pretty sturdy, to be honest. I don't think they're not gonna. They're in there tight, and I don't think they're gonna come out on flight. So you know, I'm concerned. I am a tape or glue stuff down all the time. I don't think they're going to come out and flight because any pressure is on there, and you're going to have to be doing stupid speeds for me to be concerned about those. So yeah, the little dart, not flown it yet. It is prepared. It is here, ready for its maiden. Hopefully it gets flown tomorrow evening, and we'll take it out for a spin. Oh, one thing which I have picked up, which I'm a little bit concerned about. Can you see just up there in the corner of the Elevon? Is that I'm a bit worried about that corner getting ripped off over time. I don't know why they've cut the mould short, because they've done it on both sides as well. And remember that last thing which I did spot, they got two little strips on the bottom, which is a nice little touch, to say the least. And good morning, Dave, and good morning, fellow foam lovers as well. So let me just, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to move across to your chat and take a quick look. Again, you have to excuse me because I'm looking on a different screen to what's going on there. Right, okay, I've brought myself back up to speed. Happy days. Right, that now brings up, that was the dart. And then, have you seen, okay, the size of the Skyhunter? Let me just go and put this onto that screen there. I'm sure many of you were around for the unboxing, but look at the size of that. It is absolutely bloody massive. But if you just put it into perspective, there's the dart. The wingspan on the dart is exactly the same size as the fuselage on the full-size Skyhunter. This thing is absolutely bonkers. I haven't done anything else with it since, and again, the video which you can see up there in the background, that's there's a link to that in the video description. But this thing is absolutely massive. I'm not kidding you. You can put that on your arm. Look at the size of it. It's just friggin' bonkers. I'm still in awe on the size of this thing. And then again, I know the XUAV Clouds is a big model, and yeah, I'm quite proud of that install which I did on that one because I put a plywood inner all around it. But anyway, this one, it's massive. Look at the size of it. Look at the size of the battery bay. Look, there's my hand. You could probably fit. There's my coffee mug. There you go. You can fit that in there. I'm still in that stage at the moment, which I'm just like, yeah, it's bonkers. I've not started the build at all. I've given it real no thought on the motor or the setup at all, other than I just know that I got a big box on the floor with a very, very big model in it, which does need some attention to get it sorted. So, yeah, if I'm not flying this weekend, then we'll put this one together. This definitely is a rainy days model because it is just so big. There's quite a bit to get done on it, and I'm still super impressed that I was able to pick it up for, what was it, $76 or something from the EU Banggood warehouse, which, apologies, it's completely sold out now. I think we cleared it out in a day. Whoops-a-daisy, to say that. Oh, HL Max says, hi Matt, what is the all-up weight of the darts? I think it, and again, you need to check the Facebook group for this one because I did put the exact weights in there. I think it was 388 grams with a 1.3 65C battery, 3S in there. And I think it was 267 or something like that without a battery. So do check the Facebook group for the exact details. Just search for Dart on the left-hand side. And you'll find the exact weights on there. Cool. My Rundle. Dave, what's a Rundle? By the way, I'm just looking up there in the chat to see what I'm guessing that's a typo mistake in there, which you've got. Right. So moving on. Yeah, that was the Fire and the Hunter. You couldn't get to two different extremities of models. You've got something small, skitty on one hand, and then something big and floaty on the other hand. And I really like both of them. HobbyKing, and good morning, Scott, by the way. Right, moving on is topic is about iNav. And I'm sure Constantine isn't going to complain about me sharing this with you or posting this on the screen, because this is actually from their Patreon page. And the reason why I'm showing this one is because I've put a link to the iNav 1.8 updates from the GitHub page, but I just felt this one was an awful lot easier to read. So let me just pop this on the screen, which is not going particularly well. Let me move that over there so we can... That's not working out very well. There we go. We'll move it over there. Okay. So version 1.8 is out now. I just want to go on the record for this, which is that if you are already using iNav 1.3, 1.4, or sorry, 1.7.3, 1.7.4, or 1.1, if it works for you, I cannot really, unless you can find something in this list which you'll go, oh my god, I must have. Okay, I cannot give you a compelling reason to update. Also, from the point of view of a software developer, I need to just let you know is that when new software is released, it's not entirely sure what on earth is going to happen once it's been released, with all the different combinations out there. So what I would always suggest is always look for a minor update. So if 1.8.0 comes out, wait for update 1.8.1 to come out before upgrading. Okay, generally that will happen normally very, very quickly, within like a week, maybe 2 weeks, something like that, and then update your boards if you see fit, if there's a killer feature or a bug fix which you want in your model, so, or on your flight controller. So with that, yes, we were chatting about that first thing, Dave, about typing being bad, and it just gets even worse on a phone, that's for sure. Right, moving on. So F1 boards are no longer supported. There was a video out by Lee Schofield from Painless 360 this morning. No, yesterday, I think, saying about F1 boards are basically dead. I don't think they're completely dead. They will be supported. There will always be firmware kicking around from them somewhere. It's just basically developers are saying, we've done enough, you know? So all F1 users are encouraged to move to F3 and F4 boards. Now, there's another post which I'll share in a separate video on some updates, is that by far the most popular boards are the Omnibus boards, and also F4 boards as well are also proven to be one of the most popular boards out there. There was a nice little update. You're able to get your current time from the GPS unit. I thought that was pretty cool. Smart audio, that's for those which have got the Unify or the smart audio. Anyway, let's move on. Receiver type wasn't there. The big one actually is this one here, is to improve the OSD. Basically what they've done is that there's two chips on a flight controller board, the ones which have got the OSD built in. And what was happening is, and again, this might be wrong, but it's the basic version. Basically, the main process was doing the OSD updates. And what they've done is offload those updates to the actual OSD board, okay? The OSD chip itself. So it's not interfering with the main processor. So it should be smoother. However, they did run into a couple of instances with issues with, I think it was the Maytech boards, where the onboard OSD chips were a bit not good, and there were, I think they've ironed that out now, even with a later update. So the OSD has got smoother. There's been that has received an awful lot of attention. There's been new features which have been added to it. There is something on there. Aux channels have been depreciated. Channel numbering now corresponds to RC channel number on the transmitter. Genuinely don't know what the implications of that one is. There is a massive long list. Now what I've done is in the video description for you, there's a link to the GitHub page, and you'll just see how many OSD updates were included in that. Normally you get a couple of updates in an iNav update, but this one, there's been so much time, effort and energy by the team over at iNav, the developers there. It has, it's why we've got such a huge update as far as iNav goes. So well done to the team over there. Let's have a quick look. I'm just looking at your comments a second. So Matt, did you ever figure out the warrant for the stupid Eachine Falcon? Yes, I did indeed. The for Anarchy, round on the opposite side of the board, you can put ppm in that side. You'll know when you look at the board. The side of the board which looks obvious, like you're supposed to have ppm in, it actually goes on the opposite side. If you Google that flight controller board, you'll then find the inputs of the pinouts for it, and you can then use it from there. It was a little bit awkward, to say the least. Right, apologies, I haven't done shout out corner yet, so good morning to everybody who is on here live this morning. Now obviously if you're watching the recorded version, good morning, good afternoon or good evening to you. You can of course remember you can say howdy down in the comments section underneath this video. So good morning Anarchy, good morning Morpheus, Dave and Lauren and Jim and Scott and Paul and Jeff and HL Max, Sick, we haven't had a chat before, Elijah, good morning, Sean's good morning, Spiller, Sapilla, sorry, I'll get your name right eventually, Sapilla, FPV, good morning as well, scrolling up, Steve, good morning, Akoi, good morning, Neil, good morning. And again, if I do miss your name, I do apologise. It's not on purpose. I've just whizzed past your name as I've gone up and down the list. And Elijah, good morning as well. And good morning, Dan, too. And Momo Slappy, good morning. And Wes, good morning as well. Right, let's move back to the full screen. So that only leaves us with a couple of updates, and then it's time for us to wrap up. So the next one is night flying, something which I've personally not really done yet. And when I say not really done yet, I've been out into as the sunset's gone down, but then we've packed up and gone home. I've not actually ever been out and purposely gone out to fly at night, and that's what we're going to be doing this Thursday. So the Mini Talon, we're going to load up with some LED strips, and again we'll have it nice and bright so we can tell the orientation. I'll also use RGB LEDs so that I'll have one wing is green, for example, one green is red, so we can tell orientation, and a nice big white line all the way down the middle of it, so you can easily see the orientation from the ground. And I'll also get one or two other models sorted out as well. So really looking forward to that, to say the least. So we should Thumbs FPV, there you go. See, I always miss somebody every week. And Jeff, good morning as well. So yeah, really looking forward to this. I'll try and get some video footage of it. I don't know how good it's going to be because it's going to be at night, but 3 or so blokes in a field chucking foam around, there's bound to be something going to happen, you know, so hey ho. Right, that brings us on to the next topic, which is that I need to flip back to this screen here. Now, if you've not already seen this, we have the mildly modded Magnum Reloaded. Now, if you've not seen this one, it is... oh, here we go. Yeah. Here you go. That's about the right thing there, isn't it? So if you've not seen that one yet, it's definitely worth a watch. The basic summary is, so Bruce suggested, he's absolutely right, mentioned that the Magnum Reloaded is a very, very cool slow flying model. And while I was waiting for a new motor to turn up for it, I thought I'd mildly overpower it because it was mildly underpowered before on 2S and the motor which I had on it. So I tweaked that, changed things up a bit, and we made it into a rocket ship. Very, very good fun, and it didn't completely knacker the battery. I was really, really surprised on that one, to say the least. Right. Oh, actually, did someone just mention about a Night Eagle in the chat on the right-hand side? Did I miss that on there? So, Lauren, did everyone see the post about the Night Eagle? I've not seen that one yet, but funny you should say that. I've had a Runcam Night Eagle here for probably since the last... I don't know, January, something like that. Well, January this year. I've had one here for absolute ages and just never got round to using it. So we will be using it. And yes, Sick, my gluing skills are kind of good, to say the least. So yeah, anyway, coming back to the topic, Magnum Reloaded. If you've not seen that episode yet, it's just a bit of fun. And I'm going to claim that as the world's fastest Magnum reloaded, because I don't think anybody else has been nutty enough to stick a 3000 kV motor on the front of it. Right, next topic is that I'm sure some of you can remember. Just a short while ago, I'm here looking for the Runcams and I can't find them. You know the little Runcam 2 camera, is that I have been suffering from an issue of these misting up, and they've been absolute ball bag to do. And I got the takeaway tray, I put some rice in there, undid the doodads and put them both in there, and then put the lid on it, and then put it in the airing cupboard for a day, or more than a day I think, and it looked good. It looked good that was going to solve the issue. The idea is that the rice was going to absorb the moisture within the lens area, and put it together, went out for a flight, and it landed 15 minutes later, and unfortunately the lens had fogged up again. So I have been and given in, and off eBay, of all places, which is happy days, I've been and bought some silica gel, which is what I should have used in the first place. So I've got literally 50 bags of that. I'm going to stick all the bags in that tiny little takeaway component box, then stick it in the airing cupboard, and yeah, let it warm up, and yeah, see if that resolves the issue as far as the moisture goes in the Runcams. And again, I sincerely hope that it does, because I don't want to go and spend X amount on new lenses or new little cameras for the camera part of the Runcam 2s, just for a bit of moisture. So fingers crossed this time around it works. So I will let you know in the Facebook's group in the next couple of days. And actually, a shameless plug for the Facebook group. Underneath this video, in the video description, right at the very bottom, there's a link to the Facebook group. There is, clicking on there, how many pilots in here at the moment? 1,898 pilots in the Facebook's group right now. And I must say, and again, I'm biased because obviously I created the group, but it is genuinely such a nice group of such nice people like you. In short, and good morning, Sean, as well, and Jim too. So yeah, go and take a look at that. Like I said, there's over 1,800 cool pilots in there, just like me and you. And if it's RC related, we're having a chat about it. So yeah, happy days. Right, that brings me on to the last topic of the day, and one of my favourite creators on YouTube is a chap called Ave. I'm sure you've heard me mention him before, and I noticed that he had some t-shirts, so I just need to get this one ready, and I bought this one for it, and I thought it was really, really apparent, and I've been told by the wife that I can only keep this in the office, and it is office or flight line only attire. It made me laugh, and I also felt good because I was supporting a creator on YouTube, which I kind of like, which was Ave. So if you've not met Ave yet, just type AVE into YouTube and go and join him in his workshop for some fun, in inverted commas, as well. So with that in mind, this week, or within the next 7 days or so, I will get a couple of t-shirt designs put together. Now, an open request to you, in short. If you have any suggestions on a one-liner or so, or some designs for some Rag the Nuts Off t-shirts, please do let us know in the Facebook group, because again, I've got about 40, sorry, this is going on from a project which I did absolutely ages ago, and I need to sort it out. I've got about 40 designs which I've already got kind of like pre-designed, so we're going to have quite a good selection anyway. However, I'm humble enough to say that actually I'm not the best ever, and if you've got an idea for a t-shirt, please do share it with us. You can do that in the Facebook group. That's the best place to do it. So if you've got an idea of a one-liner, please do post it in the Facebook's group, and either myself or actually my assistant from one of my businesses, she can tart it up and pop it, create a design for us to go on a t-shirt. So look out for that in the next 7 days or so. Right, Atomic FPP, have a good day. Best t-shirt, build it, fly it, crash it, build it, repair it. Yes, absolutely. And Ave is awesome. I kind of agree, in short. So a very good personality out there. Anyway, it is time for us to wrap up. So let's quickly just recap what we've been covered today. PayPal, okay. When buying online, so that's pretty much anywhere, okay. GearBest, Banggood, HobbyKing, wherever, it does not matter. For me personally, PayPal is generally the payment method of choice because it does make things easier. You don't have to ring your bank and go and create a dispute, blah, blah, blah. You can do it all online and it's straightforward. For the very, very rare instances that something goes wrong, okay? And if you think about how many orders perhaps which I've personally made over the last year and how many times I've had to create a dispute, it's probably like twice, well, this is now the third time with HobbyKing, okay? But the point around PayPal, never ever close the dispute unless you have a resolution in your favor, which you feel is fair, okay? And remember, you can always pick up the phone and ring PayPal. As inversely, you can also pick up the phone and speak to the company as well, okay, if it's a more challenging situation. But from that instance which we saw earlier, where they are completely ignoring distance selling regulations, so I'll just bring that up on here. You can see my previous conversation in there, is that if you have a company which are taking the piss, you should never ever close the disputes and leave it open, because they cannot use that, as we saw a few moments, the lame excuse about a double refund. That's not possible. That's absolute BS. And just leave the dispute open and go from there. Right, moving on. So we also were discussing about HobbyKing getting a bashing, and fair enough, they did get a beating from me yesterday. I'm not particularly positive about that company at the moment, as you can imagine why. Moving on, the Fart and the Hunter. We saw the little darts, we saw the size, that's just the bloody size of it. Look, you can fit, that's like a lunch for an army in there. Absolutely humongous, great big Skyhunter. I'm really looking forward to building that one. It's not going to be like a complex build. Obviously, laminating it is going to be a bit of a challenge because we've got lots of curved surfaces around the fuselage, but nothing grossly tricky, if that makes sense. It's not like a balsa build, which would take us about 12 months. That one is probably a good couple of days of just attention. Anyway, moving on, the iNav 1.8 updates. The links to the GitHub page for all the updates. There's lots and lots of updates going on there. Remember, the biggest takeaway for you is that, number one, there is some updates to iNav. But, as Matt mentioned a few minutes ago, always wait for the little update to come out afterwards so that any small bugs or fixes have been kind of addressed and somebody else is perhaps broken their own phone first and it wasn't you. So there's an argument to be on the leading edge of new software, but also there's an argument just to lag behind a revision or two so that someone else finds out any undocumented features. That's the best way of explaining them. We just had a little chat about night flying. Look out for some video footage for that later, well, probably by the weekend. No idea how that's going to go. Should be good fun. What could go wrong? We also spoke about the modded Magnum Reloaded. If you've not seen that little rocket ship, go and take a look at that video. And the last but one topic, Runcam. I will give you an update in the Facebook group around the silica gel. Hopefully, fingers crossed, that solves it. So we've tried the what forums kind of tell you to do, stick rice in there and it should solve it. That hasn't solved the issue. So I've bought 50 packs of silica gel. 50 packs are going in that little compartment, and then we're going to stick it somewhere warm for 2 days, and hopefully that will clear it up. And the last topic was t-shirts as well. If you have any ideas for a Rag the Nuts Off t-shirt, please do share it in the Facebook group. I would really appreciate that. And also look out for a t-shirt library in the next week or so. So with that said, Killer Dave, I don't really do build videos, I'm afraid. I like watching build videos, don't get me wrong, but I just hate creating them because they just take so much time, effort and energy. We may have a chit chat at the desk while I'm working on a specific part of it, but I won't be doing a build video per se. We will most likely have a build overview video instead. Those are much easier to manage and also give you a fuller picture, because any challenges which have arisen, I can then discuss how they were resolved as part of the build. So that's the general theme which I do. So yeah, I really do enjoy watching build videos. I just really don't like making them because they're so much of a challenge. So instead I do prefer to do a build overview at the end before we go off and made in the video. Cool beans. So on that note, from myself, Matt, a massive thank you to you for taking the time to watch today's RC Coffee Chat. I think I've got some coffee left. That's the Mrs.'s 4 mug. She's going to kill me later. She likes 4. And she likes the mug, so Matt nicked it. Hey ho. And as I was saying, it's time for me to wrap up. Thank you very much for joining me here today. Any questions or comments about anything which you've been and seen here, you can either ask in the comments section underneath this video, or of course you can nip across to the Facebook group. Again, there's a link to that in the video description, and join in with literally 1,800 plus cool pilots like me and you. So on that note, from myself, Matt, happy flying. Cheerios.